You are watching WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. All today's news with Mike Walcher, Debbie Ely. Dr. Walt Lyons has weather. Tom Hanneman has sports. And now, this is the 10 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. If you visited the Metrodome today, you had a lot of company.
Between them, the Minnesota Twins and the Gophers drew a crowd large enough to fill both Burnsville and Rochester at the same time. This afternoon's Twins game drew more than 46,000 fans to the Dome, bringing their total so far this year to more than 2 million. And then tonight, the Gophs took over the Dome, and 46,868 fans came to watch. The grand total today, 97,131 fans at the Metrodome. But those numbers are probably more important to the guys that own the team and the Dome than to the fans. They want to know the final score. And for that, we go to Tom Hanneman in the Sports Center for an update on tonight's Gophers game and also the status of the Twins. Tom?
Well, Mike, we were 1-1 today. Tonight, the Gopher football team completed the non-conference portion of its schedule with a 30-10 defeat of Central Michigan. Ricky Foggy returned in this game, playing his first game of the season after a 2-game NCAA suspension. Some concern as to whether he would look rusty or not. Take a look for yourself. Nothing rusty about Ricky Foggy this evening, and a sensational touchdown run. And the Gophers go on to win it 30-10. Darrell Thompson had some problems, though. He was more or less shut down by Central Michigan. Now on to the Twins. The bad news after their 7-4 loss to Kansas City this afternoon is the fact that the Twins cannot clinch the Western Division title at home tomorrow. This was the difference in the game. Ninth inning, Danny Tartabull clubbed his 31st home run of the season off Jeff Reardon, and that made it 7-4 Kansas City. They hold on to win it. Minnesota 5 games ahead of the Royals now with 7 games to play. So our magic number remains at 3. Michael?
All right, very good. Check with you later, Tom.
All righty.
The Twins may have to wait a while longer to clinch the Western Division title, but today they reached a milestone that the team has never achieved before. Total attendance for the season went over the 2 million mark today, all the way to 2 million and nearly 29,000 with 1 game still left at home tomorrow.
The Twins' improved fortune in the stands reflects the team's improvement on the field. Last year, the fans were talking about next year. This year, they're talking about the World Series. Darryl Savage shows us what a difference a year makes.
Last September at the Twins ticket office, it was big news when someone bought tickets. This year, if you want to buy them, you'd better plan on a pretty long wait. Last September inside the Metrodome, if you listen close enough, you could probably hear a pin drop. This year, the sound is quite a bit different. It sounds like a pennant race, and the fans want to be a part of it.
The fact that they've been winning a lot of games at home continue to build up the emotions of the people. You get all excited, and you can hear it. It's happening right now.
What's happening could be the end of a long wait for loyal fans.
It's going to be the first thing that happened in 17, first time the Twins have won in 17 years here.
And for the first time in their history here, the Twins topped the 2 million mark in attendance. Bill Bolin of Roseville was picked the 2 millionth fan. His ticket stub was pulled, and that means he gets a week-long trip to the Twins training camp next year in Florida.
It's great to be a 2 million fan. It's great to be a Twins fan.
Everybody wants to root for a winner, so it's no coincidence that a good year in the standings means a good year in the stands. So just remember, when the Twins play in Texas on Monday and there's just about nobody in the seats watching, you know why. Darryl Savage, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Well, as Tom mentioned a few minutes ago, tomorrow afternoon's game against Kansas City is the last regular season home game of the year for the Twins, and less than 5,000 $3 and $7 general admission tickets remain.
As the demand for tickets rises, so does the number of people trying to make a profit reselling Twins tickets. But Minneapolis police say the ticket trap that went into effect Friday night remains in effect through tomorrow. On Friday, we showed you police arresting 4 people and confiscating more than $1,100 worth of Twins tickets as part of the crackdown. One man did get away, but police say he'll be charged later, and he could end up paying as much as $700 in fines and spending 90 days in jail.
From news of the pennant race to another race, the race for the presidency. Today, more than 1,000 Minnesota Republicans met in St. Cloud to consider who they'll endorse for president in 1988. Terry Sater followed the action.
It's the top of the second inning in the presidential race. Minnesota Republicans have chosen sides, and Representative Jack Kemp of New York has drawn the biggest crowd at the state convention. It's early in the game, but Senator Bob Dole, Vice President George Bush, and Pat Robertson appear to be lagging behind in the state. But Kemp isn't talking baseball, he's talking politics.
Ladies and gentlemen, the key to a Republican victory in 1988 is not just electability. This isn't a race for power. It isn't a race for prestige. It's a race for principle and policy and progress and the future.
Kemp says the Republicans must be team players. And today, Dole fans applauded Kemp. Kemp fans applauded Dole. Kemp said the Republican Party must reach out to white and blue-collar workers and must not leave behind minorities and the elderly. But if Kemp falls behind in the late innings of the national race for Republican endorsement, Dole fans have their own message about team play.
You know, we have to urge Minnesota delegates to look beyond their own state, too, to a certain degree, express their preference, but also understand that a candidate has to win the election and to be in the president's office, and you have to win across the nation, not in one state.
Long after the Baseball World Series is over, the World Series of Politics will be played. And it's still far from clear which one, Bush, Kemp, Dole, or perhaps someone else, will win the Republican game. With Nancy Suhu, Terry Sater, WCCO Television News, St. Cloud.
And Terry tells us that Kemp's supporters tried to push for a straw ballot, but their effort failed. Still ahead on the 10 p.m. report, the story of one entertainer who's a hit with the kids.
And a look at the talents of another entertainer who dedicated his performance tonight to a local charity. Stay with us.
The U.S. ambassador expressed his deepest concern.
Compounding problems even further as the strike continues.
Maybe you can't stop the world, but for a week or so you can get off. Norwegian Caribbean Lines, the world's best way to leave the world behind.
Hi, Bob. New sandwich? Make me one. 3 kinds. Surprise me. Multigrain bun? Ooh. Chicken fillet, fresh tomato, crisp lettuce, creamy mayonnaise, and the others.
Now for a short time.
Roast beef, ham and cheese, chicken fillet.
New Supreme Specialty Sandwiches, only from Hardee's, because we're out to win you over.
Bob, just one more spoonful.
Hi there. We were going to put this on the shelf of the family room, and then we realized that we'd have to drill a hole through the back of the bookshelf. You know,
Highland's 30-day, no questions asked return policy means just that. No questions asked. Right now, this Sony audio disc player with wireless remote is just $2.99, and it's backed by Highland's 30-day return policy. Highland. Nobody gives you more, and nobody but nobody sells for less.
The 1988 Chevrolet Beretta, a new kind of performance car for those who appreciate the not so straight and narrow.
The big one's back, and Chevy's got it. 1.9% financing on this big choice of new Chevy cars and trucks, or up to $1,000 cash back. The big one could be the best reason to see your Chevy dealer now.
The United States has returned 26 Iranian prisoners and at the same time destroyed the vessel the men had served on.
The Navy captured the 26 when it scuttled an Iranian mine-laying vessel in the Persian Gulf. The prisoners were released to the Muslim equivalent of the Red Cross in Oman. The Navy also turned over the bodies of 3 Iranians who were killed in the attack on their vessel, which was caught laying mines. And tonight, that vessel, the Adjur, is no more. It was blown up by the Navy early today. The fireball visible for some miles when the vessel was sunk in the deep waters of the Persian Gulf. A domestic quarrel led to a shooting spree in Albany, New York early this morning. Police say that a 55-year-old man began firing from a rooftop. He killed 3 passers-by, seriously wounded 2 others. The man surrendered after 1 hour of negotiating with the police.
3 Minneapolis children suffered smoke inhalation this morning after their duplex caught fire. The fire began in the basement at 2130 Irving Avenue North. In no time, it spread through heating ducts to the first floor. Building residents and neighbors helped get the children out. The rescuers say they never heard the smoke alarms go off. The investigation into the fire's cause goes on. As for the children, the hospital says that they were treated and released. Fire destroyed a barn and some hay on the east side of Buffalo today. No injuries reported, and authorities have not yet determined the dollar amount of the damages.
President Reagan says he will sign a bill that will increase the nation's debt ceiling to $2.8 trillion. President Reagan revealed his plans to sign that measure during his weekly radio address today, but he made it clear it's not something he wants to do.
The bill would continue the authority of the United States government to borrow funds, which we must do to avoid the default on our obligations. This legislation also includes a so-called fix of the Graham-Rudman-Hollings deficit reduction law. But it really is an attempt to force me, eventually, either to sign a tax bill or to accept massive cuts in national defense, or both.
The president claims he has no choice but to sign the bill to guarantee the government's credit. In Poland, Vice President George Bush called for a national reconciliation of the government, church, and opposition leaders. Bush is in Poland to try to mend relations with the East Bloc country. He is the highest-ranking American to visit Poland during the Reagan administration.
A milestone tonight for local peace and justice organizations. They dedicated a building on South 5th Street in Minneapolis. The Meridel LeSueur Center, as it's called, houses 15 peace and justice groups, including the Honeywell Project, Minnesota Jobs with Peace, and the United Nations Association of Minnesota. The building takes its name from Meridel LeSueur, a local writer and peace activist. Animal rights activists took their message to the doorstep of a Minneapolis retailer today.
Don't fight birds! Ban the traps! Don't fight birds! Ban the...
The Animal Rights Coalition protested outside Schlantz in South Minneapolis. The group dislikes the use of trapping to get fur-bearing animals. They claim that the traps are needlessly cruel and urged people not to buy fur coats. The protest coincides with a convention on animal suffering held this weekend in St. Paul. No football tomorrow, but Dr. Walt says it may be a super Sunday anyway.
And we'll have Walt's forecast coming up next.
What would you expect to pay for a flame-broiled Burger King burger? Wait, don't answer yet. What if I told you this regular Burger King burger had 25% more beef than a regular McDonald's burger? Now how much? Don't answer yet. What if I said you could get 2 of these burgers? Not for $3 or $5, but for just $1. It would leave you speechless.
2 burgers for $1, September 25th through October 4th at Burger King, the best food for fast times.
Flame broilers are standing by.
There's one thing you'll have to do to convert the stylish Chevy S10 Blazer from a good-looking vehicle into a tough off-road vehicle. Get out of town.
The big one's back, and Chevy's got it. 1.9% financing on this big choice of new Chevy cars and trucks, or up to $1,000 cash back. The big one could be the best reason to see your Chevy dealer now.
Imagine if they made omelets in heaven. In heaven, you could have a pizza omelet, a seafood omelet, or a spinach and mushroom omelet. And you'd get your choice of a fresh-baked muffin or pancakes. You don't have to go to heaven to get a meal this good. Just go to Perkins. Tummy heaven.
Americans are obsessed with keeping fit. But it takes more than just exercise. It also means eating right. But are new trendy health foods really good for you? A special Healthline Report with Tony Vigneri Tuesday on the 10 p.m. report. You toss and turn half the night. You try anything to help fall asleep, but nothing works. Wednesday, find out what can be done to help people with sleeping disorders. 2 special Healthline reports beginning Tuesday on the 10 p.m. report, Channel 4.
Spring is not the only time to work in the garden. And today, the Men's Garden Club of Minneapolis was busy sprucing up the fragrant Garden for the Blind. It's a special project to provide flowers that will offer enjoyment to people who can't see. Next year, the Garden Club hopes to install Braille labels to help with the identification of those beautiful plants there.
We were just talking about it. We haven't actually had a killing frost yet, have we?
Therefore, the beautiful weather we're having is not Indian summer.
It's just plain old summer. Even though this is the first weekend of autumn, which is gorgeous, and the last weekend of summer, which was crummy, I tell you, it is great. Look at the numbers. They speak for themselves. 87, the record high. We did an 84 today. A little warmer than normal, I think you would agree. 53, the mild and pleasant low last night. It'll probably be milder tonight. Absolutely nary a drop of precipitation anyplace, not only in the bucket, but in the 5-state area. Overnight lows, well, they were chilly-ish out to the east. Got down to 27 or 23, actually, at Concord, New Hampshire. Record low for them, 39 up on the UP at Marquette. But generally, this whole area is quite mild. 60, in fact, was the overnight low at Huron today. And why was it so warm? Well, because this warm front has been sweeping through the region. It's a dry warm front. It's had relatively little clouds, little precipitation. I mean, look at the satellite picture. You're really stretching to find clouds out there. And that's why it got so warm today. Not only here, but out in places like Huron. It was 95 at Huron, 96 at Chamberlain, and 98 today at Pierre in South Dakota. 88 at Redwood Falls, the warmest spot in our state, and that is pretty hot air for the first day of autumn. It's also right now pretty dry in terms of precipitation. There is none, but it's not that dry. The dew points are up in the 50s, so we start looking for thunderstorms and showers. They got to show up sooner or later. We saw a few tonight watching on Lightning Watch 4. Right down around the St. Louis area and Quincy, we had some thunderstorms developing. Those are not going to bother us. What we have to do is take a look out to our west. With the aid of the National Radar Picture, we also see heavy thunderstorms in Miami and out in Montana. Around Kalispell, they had a very heavy thunderstorm there. The leading edge is some shower activity, which is going to move our way tomorrow. But before that front gets here, it's going to really do very little except warm things up. Here comes the clouds streaming into North Dakota, but ahead of it is this clear slot where we should spend most of tomorrow with increasing southwest winds. It's going to be a blustery day. The temperatures are going to get up near record highs. 87 is the record high for tomorrow. We could challenge it. The front will start developing showers in western Minnesota by afternoon, getting in here by evening is the way it looks right now. But all in all, it's going to be a gorgeous day. 80s in southern Minnesota, much more normal. 60s will be here by Monday. But after that great Sunday, you won't mind just getting back to normal. It's going to be one I wish we could just bottle it. It's going to be great. Great night to be out just wandering around there in the uptown area or what have you. Fair 70 degrees at this moment. 57 is the dew point. Humidity 63%. The winds, no surprise, they're south at a dozen. And the barometer is slightly falling at 29.83. Tonight, just a gorgeous night. Mostly fair and mild, 58 degrees. Light southeast winds. Tomorrow, the winds will pick up to 25, 30 miles an hour. We could get as high as 86 under mostly fair skies, but it will be breezy. Then tomorrow, some scattered thunder showers around 59. Then Monday, after that front moves through, it'll be cooler, 68, and some scattered rain showers will linger. And then the rest of the week coming up looks pretty decent, although it will be seasonably cool. Might even see a few upper 30s in the area. But basically, it looks like a nice week coming up once we get those showers out of the way.
Well, if you could bottle that weather, imagine what you could get in January for it.
$20 an ounce at least.
Yeah. In just a moment, the story of a talented singer, dancer, and actor who has donated his services for a worthy cause here in the Twin Cities.
And we'll have an interview with a man who performs to sell out crowds that are mostly kids. Stay with us.
Hi, Raffi. Let's all sing a song that we know. It's time for us to tap our toes together with our feet. Time for toes to tap a while.
Hi there. We were going to put this on the shelf in the family room, and then we realized that we'd have to drill a hole through the back of the bookshelf. You know,
Highland's 30-day, no questions asked return policy means just that. No questions asked. Right now, this Sony audio disc player with wireless remote is just $2.99, and it's backed by Highland's 30-day return policy. Highland. Nobody gives you more, and nobody, but nobody, sells for less.
Hi, Bob. New sandwich? Make me one. 3 kinds. Surprise me. Multigrain bun? Ooh. Chicken fillet, fresh tomato, crisp lettuce, creamy mayonnaise, and the others.
Now for a short time.
Roast beef, ham and cheese, chicken fillet.
New Supreme Specialty Sandwiches, only from Hardee's, because we're out to win you over.
Bob, just one more screenful.
Ben Vereen, the Tony Award-winning performer who has starred on stage, screen, and television. Tonight, he put his talents to work for charity. A benefit performance was held at O'Shaughnessy Auditorium. All of the proceeds go to the United Hospital Foundation.
And there was another performer in town today, and he, too, drew a sellout crowd. His name is Raffi, and if you haven't heard about him, then you probably don't have a child under the age of 10, because he has become a superstar among the grade school set.
Time to sing a song or two, you with me and me with you.
He's been called the John Lennon of the under 6 set. Raffi, and that is his real first name, began his musical career singing to adult audiences in the coffee houses of his native Toronto. But in the mid-70s, at his mother-in-law's suggestion, Raffi started singing to young children. And today, his popularity with children is such that parents must wait in line for some hours to get a ticket to his concerts.
I think they perceive me as their friend. And probably the empathy that I feel for them, probably on some level that comes across in my voice. I'm sure they sense that on some level I'm with them, I'm on their side.
But Raffi says he never takes his popularity for granted, and he views his relationship with the young fans as a great responsibility.
I am aware of my position. I'm aware of the opportunity accorded to me, because actually I take that opportunity to make my music the most positive that it can be, and I make it a celebration of life.
He left the others in his quack, 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 quack.
The Canadian-born singer says his next major project is a series of sing-along books. He says that's an effort to help bridge the gap between singing and reading.
He looks like he really has a good time performing.
Oh, yes, indeed. And the kids enjoy it a lot,
You
too.
bet. In just a moment, we're going to turn things over to Tom Hanneman, who is standing by with his Twins Extra and highlights of tonight's Gopher win. That's next.
My son's moving back in. Double my auto insurance coverage. Thanks for holding, Bob. My wife bought more things for the house. Increase my homeowner's insurance.
Byron, this is
Make life
Harold.
simpler for yourself.
This has been the pits.
Talk with an American Family Insurance agent and keep all your protection under one roof.
Hello, American Family.
American Family Insurance.
Look in the white or yellow pages for the American Family agent nearest you.
Oh,
Back already?
oh, hi. We came to pick up our new glasses.
Now that's glasses fast, glasses right. Susan had an eye exam earlier, then picked out frames.
And you know, there's thousands of them.
Then we went shopping.
It was just an hour ago.
Took her longer to pick out a sweater than it did for the eye works to make her glasses.
Oh,
They can make glasses in an hour. Just saves time for other things.
Saves us money, too.
I wasn't there that long.
The Eye Works. Glasses fast, glasses right. Call for an exam or bring in your prescription.
Songs to sing along with. From the Light FM, FM 103, WLTE. Listen to the Light FM at work all day, at home to take it easy, in the car to unwind, at night and on weekends to relax with the family and friends. Here's how we do it. No boring, sleepy strings, no elevator music, no blast of rock. Just hour after hour of songs to sing along with on the Light FM 103, WLTE.
WCCO Television Sports presents Twins Extra.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Twins Extra. At the Metrodome this afternoon, Kansas City further delayed the inevitable, handing the Twins their second straight loss, 7-4. Now, with 7 games to play, the Twins still lead the Royals by 5 games. No one's panicking, but unfortunately, today's loss means the Twins will have to clinch the Western Division title on the road. Let's get back to the game now. The Twins opened a 2-0 lead in the first and then expanded on it in the 5th when Kent Herbeck singled Greg Gagne home. The Twins led 3-1. Herbie went 2 for 4 today. Good news for the Twins and the big guy. Steve Carlton tossed 5 innings today, allowing just 4 hits, but he was assisted by a series of great defensive plays. Gary Gaetti there. Greg Gagne also chipped in. Take a look at this work, robbing Steve Balboni of a single. Here's a guy in line for a Golden Glove. And yes, Kirby Puckett got into the act as well. 7th inning, 2 on. Kevin Seitzer drills a long drive. Kirby races to the fence, times his leap perfectly, turning a 3-run homer into a sacrifice fly. Take another look. You love to watch the guy operate. A run did score on the play to tie the game, though, at 4. 46,000 on hand today as the attendance mark passed the 2 million barrier. But no happy ending for those customers. Danny Tartable took Jeff Reardon over the wall in the ninth, a 3-run homer, and the Royals hung on to win it 7-4. Kirby Puckett talked about the game winner afterwards in the Twins locker room.
You know, we played tough, and Tartable, he's hot right now, and we had our best in there in Reardon. And, you know, Tartable was up there, and he hit the ball great, so he won that confrontation. It's over with and done with, and what's done today is over with, and can't do anything about it.
First of all, I'd like to say they have a very good ball club, very well managed. They're very fundamentally sound, and I think that's what kept them. That's what's kept them in the first place for such a long time. I like to think that you know, their luck will run out. And I don't want to say that they've been lucky, but you know, to be in first place, it does take a little bit of luck.
Their luck's not going to run out. Come on, Danny. Here's how things stack up in the American League West. The Twins are 5 games ahead of Kansas City. They'll meet each other 4 times yet this season. Oakland lost to Chicago and dropped 6 games out now. The Toronto Blue Jays took a 2.5-game lead over Detroit in the American League Eastern race in dramatic fashion this afternoon. With 1 out, bases loaded, 2 runs down. This in the bottom of the ninth. Juan Benitez came through with a clutch triple to clear the bases. That gave Toronto a 10-9 win over Detroit. Tigers blew a 9-4 lead in that one. That's 3 in a row now for the Blue Jays over Detroit, with 1 more scheduled to be played in Toronto tomorrow. Great series between 2 outstanding teams. Elsewhere, Pittsburgh beat New York 8-2, and St. Louis trimmed the Cubs 5-3 to increase their lead to 3.5 over the Mets in the National League East. John Morris flagged a fly down in the right corner of Wrigley. Great catch. Of course, the Cards could clinch it early next week. Great catch indeed. We'll be right back with more sports right after this.
To us at UPS, this is a custom car. Why, this beauty's been modified dozens of times. It has a fiberglass fuel-efficient front, a rapid-opening foam-filled door, and a sunroof, all of which makes us more efficient, so we can deliver next-day air for up to half what other companies charge, and allow our drivers to be seen in one mean set of wheels. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Songs to sing along with. From the Light FM, FM 103, WLTE. Listen to the Light FM at work all day, at home to take it easy, in the car to unwind, at night and on weekends to relax with the family and friends. Here's how we do it. No boring, sleepy strings, no elevator music, no blasts of rock, just hour after hour of songs to sing along with on the Light FM 103, WLTE.
Ricky Foggy has returned. Sweet Feet stepped back into the starting quarterback position and led the Gophers to a 30-10 defeat of Central Michigan tonight at the Dome. Foggy missed, of course, the first 2 games of the season because of an NCAA suspension. On this touchdown run, it appeared he did not miss a beat. Look at him go. Great speed and moves exhibited by Foggy on his way to the Chippewas' end zone. Welcome back, Ricky. The option offense has missed you. Let's talk defense now. John Leverance has been the force behind the defense this year for Minnesota. Usually Leverance makes the big hit. Here he came up with a big interception and returned. The sophomore linebacker looked like a running back here, returning it 34 yards. Alan Holt played several downs at quarterback. His pitch to Gary Couch resulted in a spectacular touchdown. Couch turned on the afterburners, raced down the near sideline into the end zone. The senior from Iowa has been coming through with plays like this all season. 30-10, Gophers over Central Michigan, a team indeed they should have beaten, and they did. 30-10 the final. Big Ten scores on the day. Ohio State and LSU battled to a 13-13 tie. Florida State over Michigan State 31-3. Notre Dame had to rally to beat Purdue, the Gophers' next opponent. Michigan routed Long Beach State. Iowa down Kansas State. Wisconsin easily over Ball State. Indiana 20, Missouri 17, and Northern Illinois and Northwestern, they fought to a 16-16 tie. As we say, next Saturday, the Gophers open the Big Ten season at home against Purdue. Today, Tim Brown came to town and led Notre Dame over the Boilermakers. The Heisman Trophy candidate caught a touchdown pass. He's got to be the leader right now in that balloting. Top 10 scores around the country. Oklahoma looks like they had a little problem today, but got by Tulsa. Nebraska outlasted Arizona State 35-28. Auburn and Tennessee, another tie. Miami 51-7 over Arkansas, and Clemson, number 9, defeated Georgia Tech 33-12. A few local college scores to report this evening. St. Thomas over Augsburg. St. Olaf down Bethel 21-13. St. John's, they edged Hamlin 17-13. And Concordia, they down Carleton 23-14. Well, Saturdays in September are normally pretty quiet at Winter Park. But as you know, there's nothing normal about pro football right now. All sorts of activity at the Vikings headquarters in Eden Prairie today. This is the 5th day of the NFL strike, and also the first day Viking players picketed. Unlike other teams, the Vikes have decided to keep things low-key at this point.
You can get your point across without being violent and without making an ass of yourself.
The 57 prospective players reported to practice this morning. Rufus Bess and David Evans, about the only recognizable names on hand. Vikings went looking for some help on the outside as well. A tryout camp in Memphis this afternoon. 100 athletes there showed up for a shot at the NFL. Viking scouts in Memphis say they're looking for linemen, but do not expect to sign many folks from this camp. North Stars are getting primed up for the upcoming season. They played host to Edmonton Oilers tonight at the Met Center, and the Killer Bees, Broughton, Bellows, and Bugstead combined for this first period goal. Bellows feeds Scott Bugstead alone in front, and he scores on the wrist shot. North Stars went on in overtime now. The game has just ended. There is the final, 3-3 against Edmonton, a strong showing against the defending Stanley Cup champions. Hockey is back, Mike and Debbie.
So it is. Thank you very much, Tom. That'll do it for the 10 p.m. report. Tomorrow's weather should be sunny with a high expected in the mid-80s. Enjoy.
Thanks for joining us and have a good evening.
Hi, I'm Sid Hartman. Join me on the Boone and Erickson Show as we talk sports, weekday mornings at 6:45 a.m. on WCCO Radio.
Watch the Minnesota Twins play their exciting brand of baseball. Join the excitement Sunday, September 27th for an exclusive pay-per-view event as the Kansas City Royals face the Minnesota Twins live from the Metrodome. Call your cable operator now to order. Game time, 1:15 p.m. Sunday, a Twins Vision pay-per-view event.
Come Monday, we're going to show you the remarkable story of Vince Schutte and his 6 bears. He's a 74-year-old retired logger, and for the past 15 years, he's been inviting wild black bears into his yard to feed them.
I'll get you some too. Sure.
They come right out of the woods for a handout. Come Monday, you'll see just how close they come to him, and you'll just see how close they came to our camera crew.
She's mean. To you? To you.
People and Issues, each day on Newsday at 4:30.
Black Sheep Squadron.
Sunday night on Channel 4.
Energy pantyhose in assorted sizes and shades, just $170.